Young children's development. Children and young people develop effectively is an important role for all adults that care or work with children and young people. In this workshop we will look at how young children's development during the first 3 years of their lives and how meeting their basic needs supports development. What do you mean by development? Development defines as change in the child that occurs over time. Changes follow an orderly pattern that moves toward greater complexity and enhances survival. Development is the term used to describe changes in a child's ability to learn social, emotional, behavioral, thinking, and communication skills as well as changes in her physical growth. What do you mean by child development? The progression of physical, linguistic, cognitive, and emotional changes that take place in a child from birth until the start of adulthood is known as child development. There are main 4 areas of development: physical development, cognitive development, social and emotional development, language development. Physical development plays an important in a child's lives in learning, and it's the most visible of all the abilities shown in childhood. There are many aspects of physical development that come together, like balancing, gross motor movement or using a whole limb, coordination using more than one skill at once, hand-eye coordination, fine motor movement and loco movement. Physical development follows a set of sequences starting with fairly helpless babies who have only a set of reflexes for survival to their different ages, continuing to develop physically and further skills. There are often variations between children and the skills that they develop, and it is very important to recognize that. Cognitive development refers to the growth of perception, memory, imagination, conception, judgment, and reason. It's the intellectual counterpart of one's biological adaptation to the environment. It also includes the mental activities of comprehending the information and also the process where a child acquire, organize, remember, and using knowledge. In very simple words, this can be the child's ability to learn the skills of understanding, memorization, concentration, and problem solving. For examples, a 2-month-old baby learns to explore the environment with hands or eyes, or a 5-year-old child learns to do simple mathematical problems, or 7-year-old child manage simple calculations without using any concrete objects. When we talk about speech, language, and communication development, it refers to the way within which children start to understand and process language so that they will communicate with others. The more often adults use particular words in conversation with young children, the earlier children will use those words in their own speech. For example, a 2-year-old child can follow a simple instruction or request, "Could you bring me the spoon?" Social and emotional development. The way a child express a feeling and manage emotions is very important in their life. The ability to establish positive and rewarding relationships with other children or people has a big impact on a child's adulthood. It's the way within which a child's interactions with others and their social relationships grow, change, and remain stable over the course of life. It also includes a child's identity and self-image, the development of relationships, and feeling about him/herself, and learning the talents to measure in a society with other people. Holistic development in yearly years. Wholeness is the secret to comprehending child development. Studying holistic child development allows us to view children as whole individuals. Holistic development is the linguistic, social, emotional, physical, and intellectual growth of a child so that he or she is capable of facing the demands and challenges of everyday life. Children learn quickly and adapt things faster in their early years, which then further stays with them throughout their life. Thus, early age is considered to be a crucial age and is the best time for teaching them about everything which helps them to develop their personality. Aspects of holistic development. The following skills make up the major areas of development. All are equally important as they often work together. Many activities require using a combination of skills in different areas. physical development, cognitive development, social development, emotional development, language development. All areas of development of the young child are interconnected or interlinked. Progress in one affects progress in others. Similarly, when something goes wrong in any one of those areas, it has an impact on all the other areas. Where there is a delay or difficulty in one area of development, children's learning and progress in other areas of development can also be affected. Let's see how all areas of development are interlinked. Language development. During conversation, language and communication skills uses memory to be able to share information and can express themselves and could follow step-by-step instruction. Communication and cognitive development are closely related because they both involve understanding and expressing information. Social development. The development of personal social skills is a key factor in school readiness and significantly impacts the development of skills in other development. Children with delayed social development may have an impact on their academic and emotional development. Physical development. Personal social skills are interrelated with physical development because children's play is usually active and requires the use of large muscles as well as balance. Social development. If the child has delay in language development, he or she will not be able to communicate well. It affects the child's personal, social, and emotional development. Final thoughts. All these areas of development are connected. We should always think about the whole child. For example, once children learn to use words, it is much easier for them to express their emotions. And once they begin to crawl, they begin to explore more and learn about other parts of the world around them. A child who has not started talking at proper age will have a shy nature while playing with other children or less confidence in walking to others. So, by these examples we can see that the delay in communication and language development area is affecting the personal, social, and emotional development area, as well as a child will start grabbing literacy and mathematic knowledge later. Understand patterns of children's development from birth up to 5 years. Patterns of children's development. A child goes through many changes after birth. The changes are emotional, physical, and cognitive in nature. Every child develops differently from the time they are born until they reach a certain age. Every child grows and develops at his or her own rate. These developments happen in stages. A child must reach a milestone at each stage of development. These are referred to as developmental milestones. Parents must be aware of these developmental milestones in order for their child to grow properly. Let's see the development for young children during the first 5 years of their life. Birth to 6 months. Cognitive development. Babies develop quickly as they use their senses and become aware of what is going on around them. They will be aware of physical sensations like hunger and will begin to recognize their carers by responding to physical stimuli like smiles. Babies begin to form simple associations at a young age, such as recognizing a parent's soothing voice or the routines of feeding and sleeping. Birth to 6 months. Speech, language and communication development. Babies will begin to interact with adults by looking and listening, as well as vocalizing at people they recognize by gurgling or cooing. Young babies as young as a few weeks old may respond to their name, but this is more likely because they recognize the voice of their parent or carer. They may respond to speech by smiling or crying if they are in need. Birth to 6 months. Physical development. The physical development of a newborn baby is rapid. From basic reflexes, they will soon be able to make jerky movements with their arms and legs, keep their head up and move it deliberately to look around them. Baby begins to use palmar grasp and can transfer objects from hand to hand. Birth to 6 months. Emotional and social development. In this stage, baby will smile in response to an adult. She or he may stop crying when hears, sees or feels her carer. Shows enjoyment at caring routines such as bath time. 6 to 12 months. Cognitive development. Babies will begin to understand tone of voice and keywords like mama or dada. They will also be able to recognize some objects, such as a favorite toy, and will know where to look for it if it is hidden. 6 to 12 months. Speech, language and communication development. Babies will begin to recognize key voices, comprehend basic language, and recognize their own name. They will begin to practice speech by making sounds, babbling, or talking to themselves. 6 to 12 months. Physical development. Babies can push themselves up by lying on their front and using their arms. They will be able to roll over and kick their legs as well. They will continue to gain strength and may be able to bear much of their weight when supported and sit unsupported for short periods of time. They might be starting to look for ways to get away. They will also be able to pick up items. 6 to 12 months. Emotional and social development. Babies will develop emotional attachments to their primary carers. They are likely to be easily distressed if their primary carer leaves and to be wary of strangers. Cuddles and attention will be appreciated by babies of this age. 1 to 2 years. Cognitive development. Children will continue to investigate various objects to discover what they do. They will begin to use objects appropriately, such as attempting to use a hairbrush or cup. Their language will be rapidly developing, and they will be able to use and understand approximately 40 words. One to 2 years. Speech, language and communication development. Children will begin to understand simple commands, have a drink, when accompanied by gestures, being handed a cup. They will be able to identify a few objects and will be beginning to expand their spoken vocabulary. They may also be echoing what others are saying to them, a condition known as echolalia. One to 2 years. Physical development. Children will eventually be able to sit up on their own. As their balance improves, they will gradually learn to walk steadily by pulling themselves up on furniture. Their coordination will improve, and they will be able to pick up small objects, turn pages of a book, and feed themselves with a spoon. They might be starting to use the toilet. 1 to 2 years. Emotional and social development. Children will still be wary of unfamiliar adults, but they will be gaining independence. If they are unable to express themselves, they will become frustrated. They will enjoy socializing and playing with other children. 2 to 3 years. Cognitive development. Children's vocabularies will rapidly expand, and they will begin to comprehend more abstract ideas. They will be more aware of others and will be able to comprehend the implications of their own actions. They will also begin to learn nursery rhymes and well-known songs. 2 to 3 years. Speech, language and communication development. Children will know and speak over 200 words and will begin to put them together. They will often talk to themselves as they do things, and will name different objects when they recognize them. 2 to 3 years. Physical development. At 2 years, children will be able to run, climb and throw a ball. They may be using a tricycle. By 3 years they will also be able to house pedals. They will be able to drink from a cup and use a spoon more confidently, and may have a preferred hand for feeding and drawing. 2 to 3 years. Emotional and social development. Children will be learning to say how they are feeling, though at times they will find it difficult to control their feelings and may have tantrums. They will still depend on adults emotionally. They may start to share with other children, while still enjoying solitary play. Rate and sequences in child development. Let's see why young children's development may occur in different sequences and at different rates. There is a definite pattern to a child developing. Sequential development means the growth happens in a set of pattern or order, however there will be difference when it comes to the speed of their development. In physical development aspect of a child, he or she will roll, crawl, walk and eventually can run. Rate is the speed of which development happen, or we can say rate involves a time frame linked to age in which a child develops. It is not like to all children, unlike the sequential development which follows the same pattern. It varies from child to child. An example is where one baby may achieve walking independently at 10 months, but another may be able to at 12 months and another at 16 months. It can be challenging to predict the effects of any one factor on the overall development of children because there are so many variables that can affect their healthy growth and development. Let's see some of factors that influence on child development. Genetic influences, economical influences, family environment and background, health, emotional and social influences, personal decisions, chronic health condition, cultural influences. Thank you for watching. For more information, visit our website and subscribe our channel.